Hello everyone, and welcome to my latest review, and what we'll be discussing the latest documentary that's available on Disney Plus called Music by John Williams. So without further ado, let's get into my thoughts on this documentary. So this is a documentary that I really enjoyed, not only as a film fan, but also a lover of film scores as well. And the documentary looks into the life and times of John Williams, so we hear lots of insight into his life as a family man. We hear the fact that music was a big part of his life from an early age, and of the fact that, for example, his father was a musician, and his family have always kind of encouraged the musical element in John Williams from an early age. So it's nice to hear those insights that we perhaps haven't heard previously. And of course, we hear the contributions from the people that have worked with John Williams throughout his career, and that includes the likes of Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, and also kind of unfamiliar names for people who don't necessarily are, casual film fans essentially. So that includes the people like Oliver Stone, Ron Howard as well. And it's a really good insight into how John Williams works with different directors and how he adapts his musical taste and tone based on the director and also based on the project as well. One of the best aspects of this documentary is how we see the archival footage of a lot of these classic movies. So that includes Indiana Jones, Jaws, E.T. We see really kind of scrubbed up, really good quality images that obviously it's a clear indication that the producers of this movie took the time and effort to take that kind of old footage and give it a kind of a clean upgrade for this documentary, which is fascinating because you see all the musicians in the orchestra discussing and collaborating with John Williams, and you get a real sense of what he was like as a composer back then, and I suppose now to an extent as well. So it was really interesting to see all that kind of old footage and seeing how he's worked with directors and kind of that back and forth to when we eventually hear the end product. Knowing that it was a long journey to kind of get to that point. So it's a fascinating insight in terms of certainly the visual aspect of the documentary, that it's nice to see footage that perhaps we haven't seen previously from behind the scenes of the various movies that I mentioned in the documentary. One of my few negatives is how the documentary doesn't really look at John Williams in terms of how he adapts his musical tastes and styles to directors. I mentioned that earlier, that it does a little bit in terms of hearing that insight with the various directors that are featured in this piece. But in terms of kind of that deep dive insight that you were hoping for, certainly come up from a film fan like myself, it would have been nice if there was a bit of a deeper understanding as to how he's adapted his musical style over the years, and also, based on kind of the projects that he's worked on as well. So it would have been nice if the documentary leaned more into that aspect. I appreciate it's an hour and a half, so they have to cover so much ground in terms of the various movies that he's worked on, given the fact that his filmography is kind of stacked, to say the least. But yeah, it would have been nice if there was a bit more of that element in the documentary. But nonetheless, based on what we do get, it's a lot of interviews, a lot of insight, and in that respect, you can't really complain, as it's a good understanding of not only the man John Williams, but also kind of his musical process and how he takes that journey from kind of essentially pencil and paper of writing those scores and those iconic themes that we know to kind of the finished product where you see it on the big screen. On the whole, this is a documentary that does not disappoint. It's a fascinating look into the life of John Williams and his musical process and how he's collaborated with different directors and different genres over the years, and also the accolades that he's won as well. There's a couple of moments in the documentary where we see the various Oscars that he's won, the journey that he's gone towards to kind of get these accolades that he's well deserved of receiving, don't get me wrong. But yeah, definitely check this one out if you're a film fan, if you love film scores, and if you're just a lover of movies as a whole. Definitely check this one out. You won't be disappointed. But now it's that time where I'd love to hear your thoughts. Did you like the documentary? Did you not? I'm so keen to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. But thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.